Okay, so if you're following the news going around with Superman, Superman does have this new early screening for the movie. James Gunn tweeted it out yesterday on June 9th, and of course, today, June 10th, is when it went on sale, and it was exclusive for Amazon Prime Video members. Now, the first thing I want to say is this is a little weird that it went to Prime Video members only because I believe, like, HBO would be the one, it would, HBO members would maybe get the early access. I don't know why they went Prime Video. There could be something I'm missing. Maybe somebody could comment down below why that is. But another thing I want to talk about. So they have the Superman early access screening. You log in through your Prime account, you link the two, and then you get the access to the tickets. Now I thought it was only select theaters. There was a majority of theaters where I am that had them. I thought it would be like, certain theaters had some type of special viewing and it would be quite near impossible to get. Now, it wasn't really clear with James Gunn what time they would go on sale. Anything, at least for me, I eventually, I set alarms thinking it was like 9 a.m. and I believe it was 9 a.m. I don't know if it was 9 a.m. Pacific or Eastern, but by the time I got up, it was like 10:30. By the time I realized what to do and everything, Prime also came out like a teaser thing for it, like nothing with Superman, but like people watching it. But the thing I want to talk about that I thought was really interesting that's happening after. By the way, I was able to secure tickets, and I'll give you my point of view as well as what the internet's coming out with. So it is being reported, and this was only through Fandango. I don't think it was exclusive to anything because I saw AMC and I also saw Regal. So those are but through that, it seems that there was reports that the site for Fandango crashed many times with people trying to get the Superman tickets, considering it's an early access thing. But again, by the way, the early access is July 8th. It comes out when Superman comes out a few days later. So, a few days early. But again, one showing a day, one showing that day per theater, 7 o'clock. So, there's no multiple showings that day. So this is very kind of exclusive in a way. Few theaters get it, certain places, I know people who didn't get in the theaters by them, but it was being reported that Fandango's site crashed with people trying to get onto it. Now, I was like, wow, that means that, that's good. They're doing well. Depending on how many people it is, and considering it was only Prime people, it really shows maybe the excitement level for this movie. With the reports that the Fantastic Four was the highest selling thing so far in terms of pre-purchase, pre-movie things. Then I'm going on Twitter a few hours later, and I'm seeing new reports from people that and mainly I see like Culture Crave and Screen Time reporting that Superman pre-sales crashed the site, but then I see things like Culture Base that the tickets for the advanced screening for Superman earlier this morning are still not sold out in certain places. Now, the images I'm seeing on the internet, they're not really desirable seats. Row 1 and 2 closest to the screen. A seat here, a seat there. So I mean, maybe you can excuse it in some way. The report isn't really that like something to really ride home about, but there are a lot of conflicting reports between people saying, they got tickets easily, saying they had a hard time getting tickets. I guess it depends on the area you're in, but I want to give my experience to it because, if the tickets came out 9 a.m., whatever, by the time I got on, it was like an hour and a half after everything. Again, I don't know what time it actually came on. I set alarms. I was kind of in and out of sleep, so I couldn't really figure out what to do. Finally, when I woke up a couple of, hour and a half later, I kind of realized what to do, go through the link and everything. I was able to get my tickets pretty easily. Now, I'm in pretty big spots. I'm in New York, so, there's something, I feel like, there's something there that could be said about it, but I was able to get a lot of seats for a lot of people. Like, I got about 5 seats total, all next to each other in a pretty good spot. I wouldn't say really desirable, a little bit towards the middle to the side, I would say. Not like, but I was able to get that pretty easily. At this point, this is hours later. I haven't checked the theater or anything. It's at an AMC that I'm going through. But that's my personal experience with it. I didn't have any problem with it, but, I'm not saying one is right, one is wrong. I think there's a lot of variables that can go between this, depending on the theater, depending on the area, depending on the time. There's a lot of different things with this, but, you let me know what you think of this down below. Do you think, people are, with just because it's Superman and, it's not Zack Snyder, there's reports about this and to make it look bad? But let me know everything you think down below. I'm particularly excited that they're doing a Superman early access screening. I feel like I remember they did this for the Batman with Robert Pattinson that I was able to go to. I'm excited though. Let me know what you think of this down below.